address of the property. It also contains the due date of the tax payment, due date of tax payment, and it also contains the mode of payment. It also contains the consequences of late payments. It also contains the consequences or the fines or the penalties of both rate declaration and payments. It also contains the reference of taxpayer, the taxpayer's rate of taxpayer's rate in case of appeal. The taxpayer's right to appeal, in case he is not satisfied, he or she is not satisfied with the notice, with the assessment, with the notice of assessment. Let us look at the tax rate on buildings. So we have different buildings, such as the residential properties. We have commercial properties. We have the industries. So here we need to look at the rates of each of these properties below. So it is said that the law says that except for the rate, for the tax rate of 0.1%, which is the industry here, 0.1%, the tax rate prescribed by the Article 16, by the article, applied progressively. So these rates are applied progressively. So since these rates are applied progressively, that means that if the residential house here and the commercial buildings, they have different rates. Where the residential house, you need to pay here 1%. So in the commercial properties here, it is 1.5%. But these rates, they are paid progressively. Since they are paid progressively, on the residential house, let us say that for the first year, we have different years here, 3 years, 4th year. So this 1% is paid in progressively in this way. 0.25 have to be paid in the first year. 0.50% has to be paid in second year, and 0.75% has to be paid in the third year, and the last year they have to pay 1%. So in the case of the commercial property, for the first year it is 0, 0.2%. For the second year, it is 0.3%. For the third year, it is 0.4%. And the last year, it is 0.5%. So, except the residential house, except the industry, which is 0.1, which is not paid progressively, but the rest of the properties like residential house and the commercial properties, they are paid progressively like this. So now here let us look at how each is computed. Let us start from the residential properties. The residential properties, in this case, it has an exception here. For the residential house which is occupied by the family, that residential house is not paid. Let's take an example. If you have a residential house with 4 floors, so that means that 3 floors will be charged tax, but 1 floor which is occupied by the owner, for example, is not charged. They don't charge the residential tax. So I think we need to do the example here for the residential house and the commercial properties so that we can really understand this phenomenon. Let's look at this example where it says that it is example under the residential properties, the commercial buildings, and industry and industrial buildings as well. Industrial buildings. So here the example, this example says Mr. Mark owns the foreign properties in Kimihurura. So these are the foreign properties. He has the residential or property which is occupied. It is worth 120 millions. He has the commercial buildings which is 420 millions Rwanda francs. He has 2-floor apartments rented 300 millions Rwanda francs, and he has industrial buildings of 800 million Rwanda francs, and he has the 5-floor apartment which is worth the 600 millions. So compute the tax to be paid by the Gen at 31st December 2020. So these are the market values. Remember, these are the market value. This is in Rwandan francs. So let us look at its solution. So for the first case, the residential that is occupied, it is exempted. It is exempted. So the second case here, for the commercial buildings, the commercial buildings that is worth 420 millions, you have to multiply by 0.2%, 0.2%, where it has to give you the commercial buildings is worth 420 millions. 420 millions times 0.2%, which is 840,000, and 40,000. The third case is the case of 2-floor apartment, where it is worth, the 2-floor apartment is worth 300 millions, the one you have to multiply. Remember, the apartments and commercial buildings, they are taxed progressively, and here you need to multiply by 0.25%, which will give you the which is going to give you 750,000 Rwandan francs. So the fourth case here is the case of industrial buildings. Which is worth 800 million. Remember, we have said that for the industrial buildings it remains as 1%. It remains as 0. It remains. Is it industrial buildings? Let us see where things. Industrial buildings is 800 times 0.1%. So this gives you 800 Rwandan francs, 800,000 Rwandan francs. So the fifth case of the fifth floor apartment. Here there is an exception. If you have an apartment that is 5-stored or that is 4-stored, as long as it is above 2 floors, you are given a discount of 50%. So therefore, the amount here, the market value is 600 millions times a discount of 50%. Remember, we would have multiplied by 0.25, so we need to see the 50% of 0.25. So it is 0.125%. So this gives me this one. So the fifth floor apartment, the 5-stored apartment, is having the market value of 600 millions. So times a half of 0.25, which is supposed to be charged, but being the fact that these floors are more than two floors, you are supposed to be given the discount of 50%. So the 50% discount on the 0.25, it is 0.125. So which finally gives you this answer. So therefore, we need to see the total taxes here, the amount to be paid. By Mark will be, in other words, it is the tax liability. It is the summation of this amount. At 31st December 2020 is 3,140,000 Rwandan francs. So this marks the end of computation of tax rates on the buildings, different buildings, the commercial buildings, the residential buildings, and industrial buildings. So they are calculated like this. The taxes on the buildings, the tax rate on buildings. So now let's look at the trading license. The trading license here, it is the tax is paid by any person who commences the profit-oriented activities in Rwanda or elsewhere. So therefore, we need to know here the tax period. The tax period is always 1st of January of a certain year to 31st of December of also that current year. So you need to pay the trading license between the trading license from the time of operation that you cover the time of operation you are conducting your business. And another thing is the tax rate of VAT registered taxpayers are paid in terms of turnovers. So we need to know the turnovers here, the turnover, and you need to know the rate that are being paid. So the turnover here between 0 to 40 million Rwandan francs, you pay the tax of 60,000. Between 40 M to 60 millions, you need to pay the 90,000. Between 60 million to 150 million, you are supposed to pay 150,000. And between and above 150 million, you are supposed to pay 250,000 Rwandan francs. So these are the turnovers that have to be based on, so that you can pay this rate. This is the rate of the trading license or the trading license fees. Another thing we need to look at. Here is the other profit-making business. Look at other profit-oriented businesses. So in the other profit-oriented business, there's something we need to consider here. We need to consider the activities that are being carried out, the economic activities that are being carried out. We need to check activities. We need to check the place where those activities are being carried out. We need to check whether it is in rural areas, whether it is in town, or it is in the city. So there are different activities here that can be carried out, and they do based on them so that they can know how to tax them. So like activities like the vendor without shop, that is operating on small scale, and technicians without machines, without using machine. So these people will be paid in rural areas. They pay 4,000. In town, they have to pay 6,000. In city, like in Kigali city, they have to pay 8,000. So the second activity here is the transport of people. And goods on motor. The transport of people and goods on motor. There are some motors that only transports only goods, that do not transport people. So this category also, they pay 4,000 in the village, in the rural areas, 6,000 in the town, and 8,000 in city of Kigali, in the city. So the third activity, it is all motor vehicles. they pay 40,000, 40,000, and 40,000. So another activity is transport by the boat. Transport by the boat. So in the rural area, it is 20,000. It is similar. So we need to also, and the other profit-oriented business, it is 20,000. Let me work on the question that is among the revision questions I have already sent you. This question involves the different businessmen and conducting their businesses in different areas, including rural areas, town, and the cities, and in the cities. So, and here the Manzi, first of all, we have to pay. We need to know the names of business people. We need to come up with the annual turnover. Turnover, and we need to come up with also tax in Rwandan francs. So Manzi, the first businessman, Manzi lies in the turnover of 40 millions, and from 0 to 40 million you have to pay 60,000. So therefore Manzi will pay 60,000. Again, Murenzi. Murenzi here. The next is Murenzi, whose turnover is ranging between 6 million to 6 million to 150 million Rwanda francs, and this one we have to pay 150,000. So let's look at the types of activities. The types of activities. We look at the rural area. We look at the town. We look at how much in the city. So therefore, Rugamba is a second-hand clothes vendor in Kabarondo. So Kabarondo is not a rural, but it is a town. Therefore, we will have to pay 6,000. We will have to pay 60,000. Operates in second-hand clothes in Kabarondo, so he will have to pay 6,000. He's operating in the town. And the Makira is another businessman. So he's a technician with a small machine in Kigali city. So therefore he will pay 8,000 because he's using the machine and he's operating in Kigali city. So the third businessman is Karemera, who is a motorcyclist in Rwanda. So and is operating in the town. Karemera operates in town, therefore you have to pay 6,000. So another one is currency. And currency is motorcyclist. I mean, currency operates a medium small shop in Nyarwanda, in Rubavu district. So therefore, Nyarwanda is a rural area. You will have to pay 20,000. So Murinzi operates medium general merchandise in Kigali city. Therefore, you will have to pay 40,000. So Mushimire is a motorcyclist. So he will have to pay the 8,000. He's a motorcyclist in Kigali city. Mushimire will have to pay 8,000. So Bazianka owns a boat in Rubavu. If he owns a boat in Rubavu that is doing the transportation, so Rubavu is just a town, he will have to pay the 20,000. So Bamureke is a car hire and he operates in Kigali city. So therefore, he will have to pay 40,000. So that is the end of the question. So this is the solution of the question you have in your revision questions I already sent you. So this marks the end of the trading license. So now let us look at the rental income tax. Let's continue to the rental income. So this rental income, it is the income from the renting of the commercial buildings. And remember, the tax period is the tax period here is 1st of January of the year you're operating in to the 31st December of that year. And this rental income, you might get this income from the commercial buildings, but these buildings, during the time of acquisition, you used maybe your equity, or you used both equity and loan, or loan only. So therefore, the equity here has got its format of computing this, and both equity and loan has also got its format. So this brings the issue of you need to come up with a gross rental income. You put your figure here. Need to less allowable expense, which is 50% of gross. So you put it here, and then you get your taxable. You get your taxable income. The taxable income like this, and here you need to take this taxable income, then you apply it to the tax band or the tax base, which is from 0 to 180, from 0 to 180. That is this is a tax base from 0 to 180. This is 0%. Then from 180 to 1 million, from 180 80 to 1 million, it is 20%, and above 1 million 30 is 30%. So therefore here that gives you, this 20% gives you 164,000 always. So, and then you put your figure here, then you add up, you add these figures, then you get the tax payable or tax, yes, the tax payable or tax liability, or the tax liability. On the side of the equity and loan here, it is also the gross rental income, gross rental income. You put your figures here. You less allowable expense of 50% of gross. You put it here. You raise the interest. Erase the interest, and then you get the taxable income, and then you apply the tax band, which is this one. Example here. This example is already in the revision questions I've sent you. So it is asking to compute the rental tax payable, of Kabanda, the Kabanda John's rental income that has to be paid. So here you need to come up with the gross rental income of Kabanda, the rental income of Rwanda, which is because they have asked annual, it is 3 million. It is 3 billions, 3 billions 500 millions and 510 millions 174 and 421. So you raise here, you need to multiply by 12 to take it to the annual.